Your heart is true. You're a pal and a confidant. And if you threw a party, invited everyone you knew, you would see the biggest gift would be from me, and a card attached would say, thank you for being a friend.
Welcome to The Golden Girls, their greatest moments. Tonight, never-before-seen bloopers and outtakes. A rare performance for England's Queen Mother. With special appearances by Bea Arthur, Rue McClanahan, and Betty White.
Thank you for being a friend.
Good evening. I'm Betty White. For 7 wonderful years, I shared the screen with 3 unforgettable women. A wisecracking substitute school teacher, an oversexed egomaniac, and a feisty old lady who had a mouth like a sailor. Together, we were known as the Golden Girls. And tonight, we're going to share with you some of our favorite moments, including behind-the-scenes stories and some hysterical, never-before-seen outtakes. We're going to start with a few scenes featuring Dorothy's mother, Sophia Petrillo, played by the remarkable Estelle Getty. Estelle has retired from show business, so she won't be joining us tonight. But don't worry, we have plenty of hilarious moments featuring Estelle as Sophia.
She's feisty, zesty, and full of old world charm, Sophia.
She's mopey, dopey, and full of crap, Rosa's sister. You kids get to be middle-aged, you think you know everything. May the bags under your eyes grow so large your head falls in them. Abundanza. Maybe we should have a weapon. Please, the 3 of you without makeup is enough to scare anyone.
You'll have to excuse my mother. She survived a slight stroke, which left her, if I can be frank, a complete burden. Ma, I scheduled the appointment for your checkup. Ma, you know you have to have a physical. What do you want me to do? Take you to court? Have you declared incompetent?
I'm not incompetent. Once, when I laughed too hard, I had a little accident.
Dorothy Zbornak was probably the only totally sane person on the show. I mean, she was the reason that these 4 absolutely opposite types could live under the same roof. I don't think it could really ever happen in real life. But I loved her. She had great humor, but she was also she was the steady one. She was the great leveler. She was the great balloon pricker, if you will. Whoop, it is really coming down.
What's coming down?
The Liberace marquee at Caesar's Palace. The man used to have to get naked to count to 21. Scrunched up little frown kind of reminds me of my mother. I could vomit just looking at you. Well, but at least I have a man.
Have one. Sounds like you swallowed one.
And Ma, remember, don't do anything I wouldn't do.
I think I crossed that line when I got a date.
Blanche, might I see you a moment?
Pardonnez-moi. Oh.
Listen, you keep your bloomers on, Scarlett. He's taking me out tomorrow night.
But he wants me. I can feel it.
Let somebody else feel it. I saw him first.
But we were meant for each other. I'm a woman. He's a man.
And what am I, Little Richard?
Blanche Devereaux was not a sex fiend. Blanche Devereaux was a sincere Southern girl who was looking for the one love of her life because she had lost George. And that was the love of her life. Now she's looking for another one. And she just keeps looking. And she looks under every pillow and every pool table and everywhere she can find a man. But she was a very sincere, upbeat, and so optimistic woman that it just made her a joy to play.
Dorothy, I've just discovered a great new way to meet more men. More men? You're going to need a turnstile in your bedroom.
Ain't my sensible meal, you ain't my sensible meal.
Spring break comes but once a year.
It's amazing how I can feel so bad and still look so good. Jumpy as a virgin at a prison rodeo. You know what I hate doing most after a party?
Trying to find your underwear in the big pile?
My God, I've got goosebumps. Mel will be here any minute.
Honey, why are you so jumpy? You've been out with Mel 1,000 times.
I know, but now there's more at stake. Everything's changed. It's all new and exciting. In many ways, I feel just the way I felt when I was a virgin.
You mean the feeling isn't going to last long?
Are you implying I lost my virginity at an early age?
I'm just saying you're lucky Jack and Jill magazine didn't have a gossip column. Please, Pussycat, I'm on a roll.
I'm sorry, Sophia, but I'm not going to let your skepticism ruin my entire evening. Mel and I were meant to be together.
I wish I could say the same for your thighs. Tonight.
I'm not going to stand for this.
Take it, Dorothy.
But I bet you'll lay down for it.
I loved Rose. She was terminally naive. She wasn't dumb. She was just terminally naive with a heart of gold, but she had a Viking temper. She had her own private agenda to life.
Tell me the truth. Do these glasses make me look stupid? You're not going to believe this, but I have a St. Olaf story about this. It's called Guggenflöten cake. Say, do they have Guggenflöter?
I think she's a Gerkamenacher. Knackend up and Spingel.
Klingen Spritzer schon.
I'm not one to blow my own Beethovenflügel.
Rose, if you say one more of those stupid words, so
blow it out your tube and burbles.
I've just been talking on the phone for a half hour, and guess what?
You forgot to dial first?
You held the receiver upside down. It wasn't even the phone, it was the TV remote control.
No.
A shoe.
Blanche, please, I'm not an idiot. The TV has a remote control?
We had such a good time playing those 4 Golden Girls. We were outspoken, outlandish, and very often outrageous. And when it came to the sensitive subject of sexual relations, we could say and do things that other network sitcoms wouldn't dare touch. There was very little that my character couldn't get away with when it came to her uncontrollable need for the attentions of men. Perhaps because we 4 played single women of a certain age, the show got many of its biggest laughs when the writers dealt with that universally beloved subject, sex. I take very good care of myself. I treat my body like a temple.
Yeah, open to everyone, day or night.
I would have died if I had ever caught my parents having sex.
But you never walked in on them?
Once, but they were only playing leapfrog.
Where's my heating pad?
How should I know?
If this isn't it, I'd like to know what other electrical appliance you're using under that blanket.
Tony Del Vecchio is a dreamboat. I wouldn't mind glancing over at the night table and seeing his teeth next to mine.
I would lend you my pass to the jockey's lounge, but you don't want to date a jockey. The sex is over too fast, and afterwards, the only nice thing they have to say to you is, good girl, good girl.
Golden Girls got a little, not salacious, but a little racy from time to time. 4 older women, 4 old broads, if you will, could get away with it.
I'd like a package of these, please.
And, I'll take these.
No, thank you.
Now, that wasn't so bad, was it?
Joe, I need a price check on some condoms. These three ladies here want a couple of boxes of the King George prophylactics.
The lambskins are the ultra-sensitive.
Two of them have the lambskins, and the blonde has the ultra-sensitive in black.
Mom! Oh, my God!
Dorothy, what is it?
What, honey?
Oh, good Lord.
Mom, what is going on here?
Afterglow.
Nice to see you again, Dorothy.
You too, Mr. Weinstock. When did you get in?
Is my cousin Sven here yet?
No, Rosa.
Oh, good. I got caught up at work and I barely had time to pick up this cake. I wanted to make Sven feel welcome.
Rose, that cake is from the Get It While It's Hot erotic bake shop.
Whoa!
Why, Rose Nyland. Why, that cake is in the shape of...
Blanche, we know what it is.
I thought it was in the shape of Florida. If you ask me, people rely too much on sex in relationships anyway.
You're right. I mean, what is sex, after all?
Two clunky old bodies thrashing around against each other. Like animals.
You get all sweaty and flushed.
Your nose runs.
Your heart races.
Your blood races.
Rose.
Say it, Ernie.
It's time, Rose.
Check, please.
We Golden Girls would get ourselves into so many priceless messes. The fun was due to the scripts and the situations, which varied every week. And there were so many opportunities for the four of us to play those wonderful characters. Since I've always loved performing, especially singing and dancing, I had a ball when I had a chance to do something totally different. Estelle, or Sophia, signed us up for a mother-daughter beauty pageant at Shady Pines. And for the talent section, we played Sonny and Cher.
We're young and we don't know. We won't find out until we grow. I don't know if all that's true, but you got me and baby, I got you. Babe. I got you, babe. I got you, babe.
When we continue, a Golden Girls exclusive, a rare Royal Command stage performance, also never-before-seen outtakes, and what it took for Betty White to get Bob Hope to guest star.
If you ask me, part of what made the Golden Girls click was the fact that no subject, big or small, was off limits. No issue was too hot. Nothing was taboo. We got away with a lot because we always tackled sensitive subjects by injecting a key ingredient, lots and lots of humor. That's how we dealt with a variety of sensitive subjects like the change, as it was called, better known today as menopause.
Blanche, you're out of bed. This is wonderful.
No, it is not wonderful, Dorothy. I was lying in bed eating, and if I don't get up and walk around, I'm going to become as big as a hippo. And life, if I can still call it that, has to go on in one form or the other, so here I am. I'll just spend my remaining years in the company of women. Only reason I'm sticking around is to read Danielle Steele's next book.
This is all because you're going through the change?
God, I hate that expression.
What is the big deal, Blanche? It's nothing. Look at it this way. You don't get cramps once a month. You don't go on eating binges once a month. You don't get crazy once a month.
You just grow a beard.
Don't listen to her, Blanche.
You grow a beard, Dorothy. Believe me, I woke up one morning, I looked like Arafat.
Oh, my
I never grew a beard. You never grew brains either.
Well, I tell you, menopause was wonderful for me. It meant no more PMS.
I never had PMS.
Neither did I. But I had a BMW.
Well, now I know why Hemingway killed himself. Oh, girls, I have writer's block. It is the worst feeling in the world.
Try 10 days without a bowel movement sometime.
You just sit there hour after hour after hour.
Tell me about it.
Blanche is upset.
Well, you would be, too, if your daughter... Oh, I can't even say it.
What could have happened? The two of you were getting so close.
My little girl is going to have a baby by artificial insemination. I just can't bear to think about it. I'm just being silly, aren't I? For God's sake, somebody say something.
Big help.
Dorothy, what about you? You're always the sensible one around here, the free modern thinker who keeps up with the times. Now, what do you think?
Ooh. What I loved most about the show, in terms of the different characters, was the relationship with my mother, which I thought was the most original I had ever seen. Number one, the difference in appearance. There I was, 5'9.5" in my stocking feet, and she was 4'10". But this love-hate thing, I mean, she constantly put me down, and I constantly treated her like the beast that she was to me.
Hi, pussycat.
Say goodbye, old woman.
Have a good time?
Do I sound like I had a good time?
How the hell should I know? You're always like this.
Your matchmaker set me up with a criminal.
White collar.
Ma, will you stop meddling in my life? I am sick of it. I told you, if I want a date, I can find one for myself.
Oh, Dorothy, dear, sweet, delusional Dorothy.
Blanche, if you don't mind, I'm having a heart-to-heart with my mother. Now listen up, you withered old Sicilian monkey. Ma, you slept with him, didn't you? Ma, come over here. Look me in the eye. Did you sleep with Tony Del Vecchio?
A little.
Ma!
Blanche made me do it.
What, don't you have a mind of your own? If Gladys Goldfine told you to drink a whole bottle of Kaopectate, would you?
Who blabbed?
Ma, what's the matter?
I can't sleep all night long, tossing and turning. I'd get more rest on Space Mountain.
I'm sorry, Ma, I can't help it.
Hey, I could live with the tossing and turning. Your cold feet are what's driving me crazy. It's like having 2 size 9 fudgicles pressed up against my butt.
Ma, will you knock it off? I have to get back to sleep.
Oh, good. I'm so glad you're awake.
I'm so glad you're awake. I'm taking my bed back.
Fine. Rose, get into bed. Ma, get out of here and take your teeth with you.
Don't make fun of your mother. If I didn't wake up tomorrow, you'd never forgive yourself.
I'll risk it. Ma, you're still mad at me, aren't you?
Dorothy, You let greed cloud your judgment. Money blinded you. You turned your back on the people you love. You did a terrible, terrible thing. It's unforgivable.
Ma, isn't there anything I can do to make it up to you?
Give me $100.
Make it 50.
Done. I love you.
I remember I'd been handed a lot of scripts because I didn't think I wanted to do another series after Maude. And I got this script, and it was so brilliant. It was so funny. It was so intelligent. I mean, that it didn't even enter my mind that we were all older women. I just thought, my God, what a piece of writing. But, so I definitely, wanted to do the pilot.
We created for the audience a place that they wanted to be. We created 4 friends that they wanted to invite into their home every single Saturday night. And that was really the cornerstone of our success.
Well, it's unspeakable, that's what it is. Absolutely.
The Golden Girls was an idea from an NBC executive who wanted to turn the Miami Vice franchise on its ear. The show's working title was Miami Nice, and it featured 4 mature women living together as housemates.
We had an exhilarating experience from the beginning. When we did the pilot of Golden Girls, it was spectacular. It was as close to perfect as I've ever seen in my life. And we looked at each other and just was stunned at the perfection of it all.
Hi there. Ma, what's the matter?
Everyone is fine. No one died. The home burnt down.
My God, are you all right? How'd you get here?
I hitched.
Ma.
A cab. I took a cab.
Well, you should have called.
I'm perfectly capable of managing by myself. I don't need help. I'm a totally independent person.
I know.
I need $67 for the cab.
$67? Ma, this is crazy. The home is 15 minutes from here.
My cab driver is Cuban. He said there was an additional tax for a bilingual driver.
We had an extraordinary cast. We had Susan Harris, who, to my mind, was and still is one of the best writers in the business. At the peak of her form, very excited about the opportunity to write for women of a certain age who television had really ignored up to this point.
Oh, Sophia, honey, how nice to see you.
Who are you?
It's me, Blanche.
You look like a prostitute.
Women have a different perspective. Women laugh at different things. And being a woman, you tend to look at things that way. So yes, there very definitely is a woman's voice. I believe that women are more attuned to people in a human way than men are. Women tend to look more at the person, at who really resides there. And I think they're better able to represent the characters.
I remember that my agent at the time called me and said, I hear you're doing a new series. And I said, I don't know what you're talking about. He said, oh, yes, there's a new series called Golden Girls. I said, I know nothing about it. No one has asked me. Well, I found out later, when they were sending the script around, the character of Dorothy was labeled as a B. Arthur type.
And as I began to read it, the role of Blanche just absolutely grabbed me. I said, oh, I know how to play this character. So I called my agent. She said, don't get your heart set on it because they want Betty White for that part. They want you to come in and read the Scandinavian, Rose.
Well, then they switched the roles and they gave, Rue McClanahan, Rusie took Blanche out into orbit where I would never have dared to go, and she just made it so wonderful. And at the same time, I fell in love with Rose. I just adored her.
I just need some cucumbers to put on my eyes.
You'll have trouble seeing, Blanche.
It's very good. It reduces puffiness. Did it work on thighs? I don't know, honey. I don't need it on my thighs.
The pilot was such a blueprint. Susan wrote such a brilliant script. It was perfect in the execution, and it was perfect in the statement of what the premise was. We did great shows, but we stated that premise so excellently, that how these 4 women needed each other in that show, and how these 4 women were such a family.
The Golden Girls was an immediate hit and was well received by critics. It found a permanent home in TV's top 10 shows for 6 consecutive seasons, from 1985 to 1991.
We were funny, we were touching, we were real, and we scored immediately.
It's great to get a series for the first time in your life at my age and have it be such an enormous hit. It's just wonderful.
Okay, standing by. You've just come in.
It was the right people at the right time, written by the right writers. Everything came together. It was lightning in a bottle. It all gelled, and it all gelled for a long time.
During its lengthy run, the series won countless awards, including 10 Emmys. Twice, it was voted TV's best comedy. Most importantly, each Golden Girl was rewarded with an Emmy statuette.
I mean, it's just a wonderful show. I think the show deserves all the accolades it gets.
When they called our name, I jumped out of the seat. I remember grabbing Paul in the aisle and hugging him. In my speech, I said, "Ladies, thank you so much. You know, you make it a pleasure to work hard."
Let's get you married. The series wasn't only popular in America, but was also a hit in over 60 countries around the world. Britain's Queen Mother was a major fan of the show, so she requested that the girls appear at a Royal Command performance.
We were right in the middle of our heavy production, so it was going to be very difficult to do that, but I broached it to the ladies, and they were very excited at the prospect, as were Paul Witt and Tony Thomas, and they said, yes, we'll try and arrange our schedule to do it.
Well, it was just the thrill of a lifetime for me, but we got to perform on that big stage. And we got to meet the Queen Mother. We got to meet Princess Margaret.
We had to learn the protocol and how you do, and you must curtsy, and you must do this, and you must do that, and don't start any conversation. You respond.
We were feted all over the place because of the popularity and the merit of the show.
We could go by Buckingham Palace and see the changing of the guard.
I've already seen the guards change, which reminds me one of them left his boots in my hotel room.
Ma, it's getting awful late. Would you like us to drop you off at the hotel?
Hey, just because you're over 80 doesn't mean you can't go out on the town at night. Just ask that fine-looking lady up there in the expensive seats.
We made them laugh, and we made them feel things that were going on in their own lives in a very safe, acceptable, and comfortable way.
I suspect it will go on forever, as new generations discover it.
The ladies were brilliant, and the writing was superb, and that is why The Golden Girls is golden.
Tony Thomas took me aside, and I thought, whoops, I've lost my job. I wanted to tell him it's too late to recast. But he said, Betty, could we ask you to do us a favor? Would you talk to Bob Hope and ask him to do our show? He said, you know him better than we do, and would you do it? Well, I called Bob, and bless his heart, he said, there was a kind of a beat of two. He said, sure, why not?
And that's why on all your programs it says that the guest celebrity for tonight's show is Presto! Bob Hope!
Thank you. Hello, everybody. It's me, Sonny.
Who tied those dead fish to the back of the car?
Wow. Straight to Final Jeopardy, huh?
And today our Final Jeopardy category is this.
Should be nice if you got one of these right.
Hello. Sophia around?
Oh, hi, Bert.
How about a little lunch?
Listen, if you're buying, how about a big lunch?
My God, you're Mr. Burt Reynolds.
I hope so, otherwise I got the wrong underwear on. He's the roommate you told me about?
Yeah.
Which one's a slut?
It may be my all-time favorite scene, the one where I get to sing I Want to Be Loved by You on the grand piano. Actually, I'm on a grand piano singing "I Want to Be Loved by You," trying to take the spotlight off B, who is being a big hit at the Rusty Anchor, and I want to be a singing hit too.
I want to be loved by you, just you, and nobody else but you. I want to be loved by you alone. Just like you, just you, and nobody else but you. I want to be kissed by you alone.
Coming up, the Golden Girls show their sensitive side. Also, the television premiere of rare bloopers and outtakes. And the stars reveal their #1 favorite moment.
One of the highlights of being on the Golden Girls was the surprises that the writers and producers threw at us. And one of the breakthroughs of the series was the way we dealt with serious subjects in a straightforward yet comedic way. Oh yeah, we got laughs, but we made sure we always got our points across. Now in this next sequence, you'll see how each of us was the focus of various important issues. In this first segment, my character was battling a real disease, chronic fatigue syndrome, which gave me the chance to vent my anger on the medical profession and on one doctor in particular, which I must admit I really enjoyed doing.
Dr. Budd, I came to you sick and scared, and you dismissed me. You didn't have the answer, and instead of saying, I'm sorry, I don't know what's wrong with you, you made me feel crazy, like I had made it all up. You dismissed me. You made me feel like a child, a fool, a neurotic who was wasting your precious time. Is that your caring profession? Is that healing? No one deserves that kind of treatment, Dr. Budd. No one. I suspect had I been a man, I might have been taken a little bit more seriously and not told to go to a hairdresser.
Look, I am not going to sit here anymore.
Shut up, Louis.
I don't know where you doctors lose your humanity, but you lose it. You know, if all of you at the beginning of your careers could get very sick and very scared for a while, you'd probably learn more from that than anything else. You'd better start listening to your patients. They need to be heard. They need caring. They need compassion. They need attending to. You know, someday, Dr. Budd, you're going to be on the other side of the table. And as angry as I am, and as angry as I always will be, I still wish you a better doctor than you were to me.
Susan, Tony, and I very much wanted to make this series about something other than just laughs. Susan has chronic fatigue syndrome, and it was a very important part of our life at that point, dealing with the effects of it. It was also a period in which we had many friends, we all did in the business, who were HIV positive or had AIDS. And it was part of what society was experiencing.
Of all the unlikely characters of the four of us, they picked Rose to confront the HIV problem. Her results from physical came back, and they thought she had HIV, and seeing her panic, but at the same time in a comedic way, without making fun of the subject at all. Damn it, why is this happening to me? I mean, this isn't supposed to happen to people like me. You must have gone to bed with hundreds of men. All I had was one innocent operation.
Hey, wait a minute. Are you saying this should be me and not you?
No, I'm just saying that I am a good person. Hell, I'm a goody two-shoes.
AIDS is not a bad person's disease, Rose. It is not God punishing people for their sins.
You're right, Blanche.
Well, you're damn straight I'm right.
Your test results were fine, Mrs. Zabornik.
Oh, that's great.
Well, sure, that's great for you, Dorothy, but what about me?
Rose, you used my name, you remember?
Right. Well, then I'm fine, too. I'm fine. Oh, thank you, God. Oh, I wish you could have told me that on the phone. The last couple of hours waiting were the hardest.
I know. But even people who test negative often need more counseling.
Oh, I feel wonderful. I feel great.
I know what you've been through, and I'm really very happy things turned out.
Oh, thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor.
Hey.
The best comedy is intertwined with moments of drama, moments of tragedy. But it is also the trademark of Susan Harris. Her best writing will make you laugh and make you cry. Susan Harris has always been brilliant at doing that. And the majority of those stories were written by Susan Harris, the ones of real drama.
One of the more serious episodes, which actually featured me, was the one where I was asked to donate a kidney to my sister, who was not one of my favorite people in the world. But I was the best match for her, and she might die without it. And I had this dilemma, Blanche being as self-centered as she was, about whether or not to donate my kidney.
And what if I give her my kidney, and then the one good kidney I have left stops working? What do I do then? Ask for my kidney back?
You'd be an Indian giver.
I need both my kidneys. You know what'll happen if I give her one? My ankles will swell, my eyes will puff up. I'll look just like the Pillsbury Doughboy.
Blanche, that does not happen. You can live just fine with one kidney.
I can't eat this food. I'm going to bed. I'll just think about it tomorrow. All I know is, girls, I'm in a no-win situation here. I lose a sister or a kidney. Either way, no matter what I do, I'm going to lose something.
Blanche, what are you doing here? Is something wrong? I mean, we didn't expect you back so soon.
Oh, the best possible thing has happened. I still have both my kidneys, and my sister's fine.
Blanche, how is that possible?
They couldn't use my kidney. My blood vessels were too small. But of course they're too small. I've always been very petite.
Blanche, Virginia.
Oh, well, the most wonderful thing happened. They found a donor. An excellent match. She was a retired Mormon school teacher.
Virginia's so lucky.
Oh, I'll say. That kidney was showroom new. Why, the wildest thing that ever passed through there was Ovaltine.
One of the loveliest ones. Oh, I get goose pimples thinking about it because it has to do with loneliness. There was one we did where Sophia met a man. I don't, you know, at this point I don't even remember if he had Alzheimer's or... I just remember these two lonely people sitting on a bench looking out at the ocean. And it had to be one of the most touching shows I've ever seen.
Whatever. My point is, there's always something interesting happening at the beach. But then again, I've always been a beach person. Not my Salvador.
Salvador?
My husband.
You have a husband?
Departed. I told you about him. Anyway, Salvador hated the beach. He said too many people peed in the ocean. What about your Edna?
Edna?
Did she like the beach?
You ever notice the birds?
I'm asking you about your late wife. You're asking me about birds?
At the park, they want you to feed them, but here they take care of themselves.
Here they could die for Clams Casino. What's your point?
I don't know.
I'm asking about Edna.
Edna?
Your wife. Oh, hey. I'm sorry. I guess I just can't take a hint. There's some things about Salvador I still have trouble talking about. Of course, other things I'm not allowed to talk about unless I want the Scarpoli family to put out a contract on me. Hey, I made up that last part trying to lighten the moment. I'm sorry, Alvin. Don't cry. That's okay. You cry all you want.
More to come. The girls dish on the men in their lives and a television first. A surprise practical joke caught on tape.
During the show's 7-year run, there were quite a few men who were part of our world in Miami. Let's not forget, we Golden Girls were a highly flirtatious quartet who loved it when gentlemen callers stopped by. Over the years, many passed through our home, but only 2 became recurring characters on the series. Rose was lucky enough to have a fairly long-lasting relationship, that's defined as 3 seasons, with a man named Miles Weber, played by the sweet, lovely Harold Gould. Rose and Miles even edged their way towards marriage. But as you will see, our relationship, like many things on the Golden Girls, was a bit upside down and backwards.
We're not just getting married because of the contest, are we?
Oh, no. Oh, sweetheart, no. I'm marrying you because I love you. I mean, the prize is just the biggest, best Christmas present I ever got.
Well, okay. Let's do it. Let's get married.
No, wait a minute. Call me old-fashioned, but we got a proposal here. Let's do it right.
Oh, of course. Miles, if you'd marry me, you'd make me the happiest woman in the world.
I think I'm going to cry.
You know what one of the high spots for me on the show was working with Herb Edelman. I just loved that we could make fun of the fact that he was quite bald. And it was just a love, it was just a delicious, even though I would slam doors at him and carry on, and he knew that I loved him, and the audience knew that we had something real in our marriage, even though it did end.
Dorothy, I know it's been a while, but try and control yourself. I need some rest. What the hell is that for?
You're not getting into this bed, Stanley.
Then where am I supposed to sleep?
On the floor like any dog.
Oh, fine. Just fine. Stan Spornak doesn't have to beg a woman to get into bed. Women come to me.
Yeah. Right after they get the approval number on your MasterCard.
Good night.
Oh, shut up. Stanley, if you're doing what I think you're doing, you're in big trouble.
We covered a lot of things on Golden Girls. In fact, I can't really offhand think of what we didn't cover. We had a lot of gay story. Not a lot. We had homosexuality addressed from time to time. At one point, I think it was Rue's brother. Now, stop me if I'm wrong, because I haven't seen these shows in a while. I think it was Rue's brother who was gay.
This is Doug. He's my friend. My very special friend.
Well, any friend of Clay's. The man's as gay as a picnic basket. A gay theater director. Did you ever hear such a thing?
Honey, I didn't even know if you'd know what a lesbian was.
I could have looked it up.
There must be homosexuals who date women. Yeah, they're called lesbians. Oh, one more thing, Laszlo. I'd like to ask you a question. By any chance, is there anybody here tonight in whom you might be interested romantically?
Well, as a matter of fact,
Yes.
Oh, I knew it. I knew it.
Laszlo, looks like we're a hit.
I'm sorry, I thought you knew.
Another favorite show of mine was because of one moment on the bed in, I think it was Bee's bedroom. We're all in Bee's bedroom, and a friend of Bee's, I believe, has come to visit, and she's developed a crush on Rose. And I don't realize that, and so they are explaining it to me.
For starters, Gina's a lesbian.
What's funny about that?
You aren't surprised?
Of course not. I mean, I've never known any personally, but isn't Danny Thomas one?
Not Lebanese, Blanche. Lesbian.
Lesbian. Lesbian. Lesbian. Well, I'll never understand what Jean doesn't see in the opposite sex, but hey, if that's what makes her happy, that's fine by me.
There's one other thing.
Jean thinks she's in love with Rose.
Rose? Jean has the hots for Rose? I don't believe it. I do not believe it.
I was pretty surprised myself.
Well, I'll bet. To think Jean would prefer Rose over me? That's ridiculous.
We did musical numbers every once in a while. I remember once, and Rose always played the piano. Well, of course, Betty doesn't play the piano, but she fakes it, as she does so many other things. I remember one episode where Rose enters a contest to write a song for the city of Miami. And what makes sense to Rose doesn't always make sense to the rest of the world.
Tickle the ivories, Rose.
Coochie, 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 coochie.
Rose, play or die. Miami is nice, so I'll say it twice. Miami is nice. Miami is nice. Miami is... Wait a minute. You put in an extra Miami is nice.
I had to. It hurts the music if you don't put it in.
Yeah, but the lyrics don't make any sense. I mean, it goes, Miami is nice, so I'll say it twice.
Oh, I see your point. Well, what about this? Miami is nice, so I'll say it thrice.
Right, who the hell says thrice?
It's a word.
So is interuterine. It does not belong in a song.
Miami, you're cuter than an interuterine.
Next, fresh from the Golden Girls vault, hilarious bloopers and an outrageous practical joke. When we continue with the Golden Girls, their greatest moments.
One of the best things about doing the show, of course, was the fun we had. But if anything could go wrong, it often did. We always tried our best. We learned our lines and worked hard to prepare our scenes for taping. Still, too often things didn't go quite as planned. Recently, we discovered some hilarious bloopers from the series. What you're about to see has never been broadcast on television. Here's visual evidence of the four of us having way too much fun on the job.
I've been such a creep.
I know.
I don't know how to explain it. I can't explain it. I don't know my lines.
When you reach my age, you get pretty good at spotting swells.
I am not taking no for an answer. I'm going to make an interview for you with Fiddledee.
Why do you think I've been making minimum wage? If either of them forgets to take a nitroglycerin, right? Expect a good time, a shoe shine, and a Tara.
3.
Rational behavior to get, what's his name to like you.
Well, scoff if you must, but I've screwed it up.
Please, here we go. In 5, 4, 3, 2.
Just like when I was a little girl and had a Belgian waffle stand by the side of the road.
No. You sold Belgian waffles.
You don't know what I sold. Well, I've lived with these bitter butter memories too long. As the finale... Oh, God, they're recasting.
He has to take his mind off his troubles, but I'm not about to cancel my date.
What do you want us to do?
Hold it, please.
They screwed up.
Jumped.
Yes, I
It was a fad during the Great Depression of... Dorothy had a date with a Commodore, Dorothy had a date with a Commodore, Blanche had a... Don't laugh. Now, this is not the funny... That wasn't even one of the jokes.
Rose, honey, now don't let this personal thing depress you.
Dorothy, I can't help it. I haven't been this depressed since I was rejected by Uncle Sam.
I thought they were going to laugh, and they didn't.
They didn't the last time. Why should they now? You didn't before, and you shouldn't again. I haven't been this depressed since I was rejected by Uncle Sam. Woo!
Now, don't laugh this time, because I'm not waiting.
There was a Christmas show where Blanche gives the other 3 ladies the same gift. And it's a calendar that she's had made up, and it's called The Men of Blanche's Boudoir. And I give it out to them, and they open them, and they start looking through and going, oh my. We had 2 prop men who shot photos of themselves and some of the guys on the crew in various stages of undress.
That was priceless. It was wonderful. Okay, we're just going to do this all. We'll pick up.
Next, the Golden Girls share their special memories from the final episode and their favorite moments.
In May 1992, it was time for the Golden Girls to chart a different course. It was decided the final episode of the series, called One Flew Out of the Cuckoo's Nest, would involve Dorothy marrying a man named Lucas. My co-stars' characters couldn't believe that it would be Dorothy who would be the one to walk down the aisle. My husband was played by that handsome hunk, Leslie Nielsen. The big wedding was a fitting end to our 7 magical seasons on The Golden Girls. I can't believe it. This is for me. They're standing for me. My good friends. Oh, God. I wonder what they're thinking.
My baby's getting married. This is too much. I'm overcome. I'm about to cry. I can't believe it. I'm actually about to cry. It's... Wow, misjudged that one.
Oh, look at her. I've never seen Dorothy look so happy. Okay, that once, but she didn't know I was watching. And she looks so beautiful. Oh, my God, if a woman with all my gifts is jealous of her, I can't imagine what a woman like Rose must be thinking.
Hi-ho, the dairy-o, the farmer in the dell.
With this ring, I thee wed.
With this ring, I thee wed.
And I pledge my love and loyalty in the name of the Lord. Amen.
Then, unless anyone here has cause for objection, by the power vested in me by God and the state of Florida, I now pronounce you husband and wife. Lucas, you may kiss the bride.
Oh, no, of all the times for me to feel a sneeze coming on. I'll be damned.
Oh, I'm okay in the show till the end. You know, then we all pretty much break down, as you'll see. It's very hard. It's hard to end the show. It's hard to say goodbye. It's particularly hard for me and Dee because it was such a very close relationship.
Well, yeah. I guess this is it.
Right. Listen.
Dorothy, you don't have to say anything.
I mean, what can you say about 7 years of fights and laughter, secrets, cheesecake?
Yeah. Just that it's been very, it's been an experience that I'll always keep very close to my heart. And that these are memories that I'll wrap myself in when the world gets cold and I forget that there are people who are warm and loving and...
We love you too.
I'll miss you.
You will always be a part of us.
Your friendship was something I never expected at this point in my life, and I could never have asked for a better surprise.
That's how we feel too.
I have to go.
Dorothy, is this goodbye?
I love you. Always. Oh, God, I love you so much.
Stay tuned. The Golden Girls are about to reveal their all-time favorite scenes.
Our 7 years on The Golden Girls was a wonderful experience for all of us involved with the series. From the very beginning, we were blessed to be on a show where the characters were real and funny, the scripts were well written, and most importantly, you, the audience, embraced us. Before we go, we'd like to share with you some of our favorite scenes. Here's one of mine. A moment when Blanche tries to recall her very first amorous encounter. Oh, that Blanche.
My first was Billy. Oh, I remember it so well, just like it was yesterday. That night under the dogwood trees, the air thick with perfume, and me with Billy. Or Bobby. Yeah, Bobby. Yeah, it was Bobby. Or was it Ben? Oh, who knows? Anyway, it started with a B.
That first time, did you have...
Are you serious? Why, many times that first time. Many, many times.
You did?
You didn't?
No. Oh, it was nice. I mean, being near Charlie was nice. But it was 5 years before I knew what made your eyes go back in your head. Dorothy, did you have...
How could I? I mean, it always seemed to happen before I was in the room.
The humor was so... It was never heavy-handed. We'd drop something and let it go. Like one of my very favorite scenes, one of my favorite bits of dialogue was when my ex-husband, Stanley, came to the house and I introduced him to the girls.
Hi, it was real... Dorothy, it's Stan. Didn't you recognize me?
Of course I recognized you. That's why I slammed the door in your face.
Still the jokester, huh, Dorothy?
And speaking of jokes, Stan, that is some toupee you've got. Oh, Rose, I'd like you to meet my ex-husband, Stan Zbornak.
Hello.
And this is his hair.
It's a pleasure to meet you both.
I remember a scene we did about cupcakes, and it sort of left a cupcake memory, really, for the rest of my life. But it was fun when you saw Dorothy discombobulated. Usually she was so in control. But in this particular episode, she was tentative and worried about something, and Rose just had everything under control. Of course, as usual, Rose didn't understand what the whole situation was. But it was all in regard to Rose's boyfriend, Miles, trying Dorothy's cupcakes.
Let's say that you make Miles a batch of your delicious creamy cupcakes, and he loves them so much that he wants you to make them all the time.
Miles does have a sweet tooth.
But let's say that even though he loves your cupcakes more than life itself, one day he decides to try somebody else's cupcakes. For lack of a better example, let's say my cupcakes. And I, in a mad, passionate moment, forget myself and let him try my cupcakes. How would that make you feel?
I'd like to think I'd understand.
Oh, good. Good. I was hoping that's what you would say. What?
I'm sorry. It's just the idea of Miles wanting to try your cupcakes.
Why is that funny?
No offense, Dorothy, but your cupcakes are dry and tasteless. Nobody ever likes your cupcakes.
My cupcakes are moist and delicious. Men love my cupcakes.
Get a clue, Dorothy. Men would rather pay for cupcakes.
Let me tell you something, you Swedish meatball. Wait a minute. You're actually talking about cupcakes, aren't you?
You bet I'm talking about cupcakes. What are you talking about? Wait a minute. Have you and Miles been baking together?
Let's go out and celebrate life. Let's go out and do something crazy.
Come home in the morning light. My mother says when you gonna live your life right. On Mother's Day we're not the fortunate ones, and girls just wanna have fun. Oh, girls just wanna have fun.
Can I ask
just a dumb question.
Better than anyone I know.
I feel like I'm in the middle of some awful dream. Yet I know it can't be a dream because there are no boy dancers.
When I turn my hearing aid up to 10, I can hear a canary break wind in Lauderdale.
But they say and sing all of Baba Boom. I'll get the ice cream.
I'll get the cheesecake.
What the hell goes on at night in this house?
Oh, there's so many ways to say farewell. Auf Wiedersehen, arrivederci, adios, hasta luego.
Get lost.
See, there's another one. Good, Dorothy.
A special thank you to all the people who worked on The Golden Girls and made it one of TV's most lasting and best-loved shows. Good night.
Good night to all our wonderful fans out there. Thanks for sticking with us, and keep watching.
And before we go, I'd just like to send a big hug to our sweet Estelle Getty. We love you, Ma. Good night.